For years, Zimbabwe has been spoken about in the past tense. A country remembered for what it once was, not what it could become, but quietly, away from global media, away from flashy conferences, a different story has been taking shape. One driven not by promises, but by projects. And at the center of it is a name that keeps resurfacing in unexpected places.
Line efficiency is up to
Maxwell
92%.
Chikumbutso.
Good, but we need to
What
check the
makes this
calibration.
moment
I'll
different
run a
is an
diagnostic.
ambition.
Syncing now.
Africa has never lacked ambition. It's execution. Across industrial zones and research facilities, machines are being tested that don't look like prototypes. They look finished. Energy systems designed to operate without traditional fuel. Manufacturing lines aimed at local production instead of imports. Transport concepts built for African terrain, African economics, African realities. And this is where the comparison begins to make people uncomfortable. Because
Morning.
Botswana has
How are the
long been
numbers?
held up as
Up
the
3%.
example.
We're on
Stable
track.
growth,
Good. And the
smart
quality
resource
checks?
management, steady progress. But Zimbabwe's current trajectory isn't copying that model. It's attempting to leap past it.
Observe the precision on the
Straight into advanced
D2A. Its trajectory is smooth.
Self-powered
Good.
systems,
Now watch the gripper
and
action.
Infrastructure that doesn't depend on fragile global supply chains. At the core of these projects is a simple but radical idea. If energy, transport, and production can be controlled locally, everything else changes. Jobs stop being outsourced. Costs stop being dictated from abroad. Innovation stops waiting for permission. Factories that once sat idle are being reimagined, not as assembly plants, but as creation hubs. Engineers trained locally. Components sourced regionally. Systems designed to survive power cuts, fuel shortages, and economic pressure. This isn't about one invention. It's about an ecosystem. And when you zoom out, the implications become impossible to ignore. If even a portion of these projects scale the way their early demonstrations suggest, Zimbabwe doesn't just catch up. It resets expectations.
Line efficiency is up to
for itself
92%.
and for the
Good,
continent.
but we need to check the
That's why
calibration.
some are
I'll run a
excited.
diagnostic.
Syncing
And
now.
others are nervous. Because when a country long written off starts building instead of explaining, when results begin to replace rhetoric, comparisons stop being theoretical. They become measurable. And the most surprising part? The real acceleration hasn't even started yet. What's coming next? What's scheduled, tested, and waiting behind closed doors could determine whether this moment becomes a turning point, or something far bigger, as the first major rollout prepares to reveal just how far ahead these
Morning.
projects really
How are the numbers?
are when the next
Up
phase
3%.
begins,
We're on track.
and the
Good.
numbers
And the
finally
quality
start to
checks?
surface, showing that the gap everyone assumed was fixed may already be closing faster than anyone expected, especially when the data from
Observe the
upcoming
precision on the
deployments
D2A.
begins to
Its
confirm
trajectory is smooth.
that
Good.
early
Now watch the
performance
gripper
data
action.
starts to circulate. Energy output exceeding projections. Manufacturing timelines beating regional benchmarks. Operating costs dropping to levels that make older systems look instantly obsolete. And suddenly, investors who once ignored Zimbabwe are asking very different questions, not about risk, but about access. What's unfolding isn't a single breakthrough moment. It's a compounding effect. When transport becomes cheaper and locally powered, logistics unlock. When logistics unlock, production scales. When production scales, skills are retained instead of exported. And when skills stay, innovation accelerates on its own. This is how momentum builds, not with speeches, but with systems that reinforce each other. That's where Maxwell Chikumbutso's role becomes clearer. Not as a lone inventor, but as a catalyst.
Line efficiency is up to
Someone pushing
92%.
ideas
Good,
that
but we need to
force
check the
entire
calibration.
industries
I'll
to
run a
rethink their
diagnostic.
assumptions.
Syncing now.
Ideas that don't wait for ideal conditions, but work precisely because conditions are difficult. And this is the part most outsiders miss. These projects aren't designed for headlines in Silicon Valley or approval from international panels. They're designed to function when fuel prices spike, when imports stall, when infrastructure fails. They are stress-tested by reality, not theory. Meanwhile, comparisons with Botswana grow louder. Not because Botswana is failing, but because
Morning.
Zimbabwe
How are the numbers?
is changing
Up
faster
3%.
than expected.
We're on track.
Growth
Good.
curves
And the quality
begin to
checks?
bend. Metrics once considered unrealistic start appearing in quarterly reports. And analysts who dismiss the movement as
Observe the
hype
precision
begin
on the
quietly
D2A.
revising
Its
their
trajectory is
forecasts.
smooth.
But
Good.
here's the
Now watch the
twist.
gripper action.
The biggest impact may not be economic at all. It's psychological. When a nation starts seeing complex machines built locally, when young engineers realize they don't have to leave to work on advanced technology, when communities witness solutions created for them, not imported to them, something shifts. Confidence returns. Ambition expands. The ceiling lifts. And once that happens, momentum becomes very hard to stop. What's coming next will test whether this surge can be sustained, whether scaling can match vision, whether infrastructure can keep pace with demand, and whether the systems now being put in place can withstand the pressure of success itself. Because the next phase doesn't involve prototypes. It involves mass adoption. And as the timelines move closer and the stakes rise higher, one question hangs in the air across the region. Quietly, urgently,
Line
and with
efficiency
growing
is up to
weight,
92%.
about what
Good,
happens
but
when
we
these
need to check the
projects move
calibration.
fully
I'll
into
run a
the open,
diagnostic.
and the
Syncing now.
continent realizes that Zimbabwe's fast track may be accelerating even faster than anyone is prepared for, especially when the next wave of announcements begins to reveal just how far this transformation is really meant to go. Some countries rush to replicate. Others slow down, watching carefully. Regional leaders begin asking whether they're witnessing a one-off surge or the early blueprint of a new industrial model tailored specifically for African realities. Not copied, not adapted.
Morning.
Built
How are
from
the numbers?
ground up.
Up 3%.
Inside
We're on
Zimbabwe,
track. Good.
the
And the
pressure
quality checks?
intensifies. Scaling brings its own challenges. Supply chains must mature. Workforce training must move
Observe the
faster.
precision on the
Quality
D2A.
control
Its trajectory is
becomes
smooth.
non-negotiable.
Good. Now
And
watch the
yet,
gripper action.
This is where the projects reveal their real intent. They were never designed to grow comfortably. They were designed to grow under pressure. Factories transition from pilot runs to continuous output. Test units become fleets. Small production lines merge into integrated systems. Each phase feeding the next. Each success raising expectations. And still, the most disruptive element remains energy. Because when production no longer waits on fuel shipments, when transport doesn't pause for shortages, when machines generate or manage their own power, timelines collapse, delays vanish. Planning becomes aggressive instead of cautious. This is the advantage outsiders underestimate. It's not just that Zimbabwe is building things. It's that it's building differently. That difference begins to show in trade conversations. In
Line efficiency is up to
procurement
92%.
in partnerships
Good, but we
that
need to
once
check the
flowed
calibration.
one way
I'll run a
and
diagnostic.
now
Syncing
require
now.
negotiation. Suddenly, the question isn't, can Zimbabwe deliver? It's how soon and at what scale? Meanwhile, across borders, comparisons grow sharper. Botswana's steady model still holds, but Zimbabwe's curve looks steeper, riskier, faster, and potentially far more transformative if it holds, which brings everything back to the core uncertainty. Momentum is powerful, but fragile. One misstep
Morning.
can
How
stall
are the numbers?
confidence.
Up
One
3%.
failed
We're on
rollout
track.
can slow
Good.
belief.
And the quality checks?
And yet, every successful deployment hardens trust. Every system that performs as promised adds weight to the argument that this
Observe
isn't
the precision on the
speculation anymore.
D2A. Its
It's
trajectory is
transition.
smooth.
And
Good.
as
Now watch the gripper
2026
action.
edges closer, the timelines tighten, contracts lock in, infrastructure aligns. Quiet test results turn into public benchmarks. And the continent starts to sense that it may soon be forced to recalibrate its expectations, not just about Zimbabwe, but about who leads the next chapter of African industrial growth. Because if these projects cross the threshold from rapid growth into sustained dominance, the question won't be whether Zimbabwe has overtaken anyone. Regulations begin to adjust, not because they're forced, but because existing frameworks can't keep up with what's being built. Educational institutions start revising curricula to match real factory needs. Technical skills that once felt abstract suddenly become employable, valuable, and urgent. This is how ecosystems form. Suppliers who once relied on imports
Line efficiency is
start
up to
localizing
92%.
components.
Good, but we need
Small
to check the
manufacturers
calibration.
plug
I'll run a
into larger
diagnostic.
production
Syncing now.
chains. Software teams emerge to manage systems that didn't exist 5 years ago. What looked like isolated megaprojects begin behaving like gravity wells, pulling talent, capital, and attention inward. And this is where expectations shift again. Because when momentum reaches this point, speed becomes less important than coordination. Every moving part has to talk to the next. Energy, transport, manufacturing, data, nothing can operate in isolation anymore.
Morning. How are the numbers?
Challenge is
Up
no
3%.
longer
We're on
invention.
track. Good.
It's
And the quality
orchestration.
checks?
Maxwell Chikumbutso's influence at this stage becomes less visible, but more structural. Not as the face
Observe the
of
precision
every
on the
project,
D2A.
but
Its
as the
trajectory is
logic
smooth.
behind how they
Good.
interlock.
Now watch the gripper action.
Systems designed to reinforce one another instead of competing for resources. Outside observers often miss this moment. They're still looking for the next headline, the next bold claim, the next dramatic reveal. But the real story is happening in schedules being met, in machines that don't break, in outputs that scale without chaos, in confidence that no longer needs to be defended, and that confidence spreads. Local governments start planning around these capabilities instead of waiting for them. Businesses make long-term bets they would never have made before. Young professionals stop seeing success as something that happens somewhere else. Yet beneath all of this, the tension remains. Because growth exposes weaknesses. The faster things move, the more visible the cracks become. Infrastructure bottlenecks, talent shortages, coordination challenges.
Line efficiency is up to
between ambition
92%.
and reality.
Good, but we need to
Every
check the
advantage
calibration.
introduces
I'll run a
new
diagnostic.
test.
Syncing now.
What determines the outcome isn't whether these problems appear. It's how quickly they're solved. And that's the real countdown now, not to a date on the calendar, but to a moment when the systems either stabilize into something permanent or reveal that the acceleration was ahead of its foundations. As Africa watches, cautiously but intently, one thing becomes clear. This isn't a race between countries anymore. It's a race between momentum and maturity. And as the pressure builds, the
Morning.
next development
How are
will
the numbers?
show whether
Up
Zimbabwe's
3%.
fast
We're on track.
leads
Good.
to a plateau,
And the quality checks?
or to a level the region has never seen before, as the story continues to unfold far beyond what anyone initially imagined.
Observe the
Because
precision
once
on the
system
D2A.
proves it can
Its trajectory is
sustain itself,
smooth. Good.
tension
Now watch the
turns
gripper
outward.
action.
Export conversations grow serious. Regional integration stops being theoretical. Infrastructure corridors that once existed only on planning maps begin to feel inevitable. When production is reliable, partners follow. This is where perception shifts globally. Investors who once categorized Zimbabwe as emerging begin using different language. Risk models update. Long-term projections start including variables that didn't exist before. Not because of hype, but because output data forces a reassessment. And inside the country, the psychological shift may be the most powerful change of all. When people witness complex systems built locally and working, it resets what feels possible. Innovation stops being inspirational and starts becoming expected. Ambition normalizes. Standards rise quietly.
Line efficiency is up to
permanently.
92%.
That
Good,
creates
but we need to
pressure
check the
of a different
calibration.
kind.
I'll run a diagnostic.
Because
Syncing
once
now.
expectations rise, failure becomes less forgiving. Every new rollout is measured against what came before. Every promise must be backed by performance. The margin for error shrinks as belief grows stronger. Success creates responsibility. This is the paradox of acceleration. You can move fast at the beginning because no one expects perfection. But once momentum hardens into trust, the pace must be matched by precision. Scaling no longer rewards
Morning.
speed alone.
How are the numbers?
It demands
Up 3%.
discipline.
We're on track.
And that
Good.
discipline
And the quality
is being
checks?
tested now. Behind factory walls, optimization replaces experimentation. Processes tighten.
Observe the
Redundancies
precision
are
on the
removed.
D2A. Its trajectory
Teams
is
learn not
smooth.
just how to build,
Good. Now watch
but
the gripper
how to
action.
maintain, repair, and evolve. The long game begins. Observers waiting for a dramatic climax may miss this entirely. Because the most decisive phase doesn't announce itself. It looks like consistency. It looks like systems that quietly keep running. Products that keep shipping. Workers who keep showing up because the future feels anchored, not hypothetical. And somewhere within that consistency lies the real answer to the original question. Not whether Zimbabwe can overtake Botswana. Not whether one visionary can change a continent. But whether a fast-moving idea can solidify into an enduring structure strong enough to survive leadership changes, economic shifts, and global uncertainty. That answer won't arrive all at once. It will reveal itself step by step, contract by contract, year by year.
Morning.
As Africa
How are the
watches
numbers?
closely,
Up
and the
3%.
next phase
We're on
begins
track.
to take
Good.
shape in
And the
ways
quality
that
checks?
may redefine how progress itself is measured. long before the full story reaches its final form and continues unfolding beyond the horizon.
Observe the precision
What
on the
began as an
D2A. Its
ambitious
trajectory is
vision
smooth.
becomes something
Good.
harder to
Now watch the
dismiss.
gripper action.
A functioning model. One that proves speed and structure don't have to cancel each other out. One that shows industrial momentum can be built locally, scaled regionally, and sustained under real-world pressure. If these systems endure, history won't remember the debates, the doubts, or the early skepticism. It will remember the moment Africa stopped asking if it could build at this level and started deciding how far it was willing to go. Zimbabwe's fast track won't be measured by headlines or rankings. It will be measured by permanence, by factories that outlive their founders, by infrastructure that supports generations, by skills passed forward instead of exported, by an industrial confidence that doesn't fade when attention moves elsewhere. And when that happens, the question won't be who overtook whom. The question will be why this shift took so long to be taken seriously. Because by the time the world fully catches up, the transition will already be complete, and the future that once felt improbable will simply feel inevitable.